Hey guys, have you guys ever wondered what would happen if everyone in the world was rich? You know, just like whatever anyone wanted, they were just able to get. Do you think it would be chaos or do you think it would be better? Because I guess it's kind of like the same idea if everyone in life was like winners and there weren't any losers. You know what I mean? Because when you're rich, you can look at someone else and just judge and be like, yo, man, I'm so much better than that person, you know? But I guess for the competitive side of things, there needs to be winners so everyone else can feel better about themselves and be like, we're better off than those people, you know? Everyone else is looking at us, they're like, oh, I wish I was rich like them. And in a sense, that makes them feel good. That makes people feel good or whatever. But if everyone was rich in the world, would that be for the best? Or, you know, there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people with evil intentions. But is the world the way it is because that's just how we want it? If everything was to restart, will everything just end up being exactly where it's at right now all over again? Because obviously the world when it started, it wasn't like this. It's because of our nature as humans that everything became the way it is. So if we restart it, will it all just come back to being this way? It's kind of like in school when people used to give presentations. They'll come to school and adults would tell the kids and be like, hey, you guys have no idea what life is like. I know you live in this bubble of high school and you think the rest of the world is going to be like high school, and they try to preach to you, and you as a kid, you just don't listen. You just yo, I don't care, man. The only thing I care about is just getting girls, this and that, playing football, and that's it. And they try to explain to you that, yo, the world is so much bigger than just this, But yeah, man, if everything was to restart, I feel like things would just pretty much stay the same because it's just us as humans. It's just in our DNA. It doesn't matter how righteous you are, you still have a part of what it means to be human. No one in this world is just righteous all the time, So if everyone was rich in the world, I feel like it's either going to be chaos or people will still find a way to find a way to just be to show so everyone can identify that, this group is better than this group of people that are right here. I just feel like that's how it's always gonna be. And that's because that's how we want it to be. It's kinda like the paradox of someone being poor and being okay, if I become rich, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do so different. But then when you become rich, you just classify it as just another rich person. You can't relate to poor people, and even if you're rich and you try to hang around poor people, they're gonna make you feel unwelcomed. And even you're not gonna feel like you belong, even though you used to be just poor as them. But now you're rich, it's different. It's you can see the hatred in their eyes, and some of them, they don't mean for it to be that way, but that's just how it is. That's just what it means to be human. We are all guilty. I mean, there are some people that they don't try to be good people, and some of them, I gave up talking to people because it was I gave up trying to show people the error of their ways because some people know they're bad. They know what they're doing is really messed up. They know they hurt your feelings. They know they have hatred in their heart, and they just don't care. They just want to see you suffer. They want to see you in pain. They want to make sure they're always doing better than you. They know they're bad people, and they just don't care. That's why I think if everyone was rich in the world, people would still find a way to have that divide, to just be no, we gotta come up with some way so that everyone can see, okay, if you have so and so, then yeah, you're better than this group of people. So if everyone was equal in the world, which would probably never happen, because we as humans, we just have to find that divide so we can feel good about ourselves. But yeah, but it's an interesting thought, just like, what if everyone in the world was winners? What if we were all rich? What would happen? How would we still find a way to divide everyone? But yeah, man, let me know what you guys think, because, I'm sure there's some of you out there that are just like 10 times smarter than me that can like come up with some ways, but, some interesting ideas. But I feel like it's always just going to stay the same. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter how we try to change it. We're always just going to come back to how things are right now.